Hi, and welcome to episode 175 of the PassioKnit Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and on Instagram, and I'm going to leave that down in the description box because it's not so easy to spell. And I am in lots of other places. I do have a Patreon. I have a Redbubble shop. We do have a Discord server, and I'm going to leave all the links down below. And yeah, I'm already back. It's not even been a week. I wanted to record my podcast right now because of all the constructions around me on Sundays, but I don't have time tomorrow. So I'm recording today, or I would have had to, leave another week. And since I really want to get back into a weekly schedule, I decided to just record today. I do have a few things to show. First off, knitting in the past, I haven't finished anything. But I do have some knitting in the present, or let's say crochet. Gonna start with the crochet. Ooh, I just lost my hook. So here we go. This is it, my crochet. I showed you 14 of those squares last time, and I will not go through all of them again because you've seen every colorway I have. And I'm currently working on the last of my squares. So this is square number 30. I have made this square this morning out of this yarn. That's the second square, and it's the last one. 30 squares done. The next step then will be crochet around in the neutrally white, either 1 or 2 rounds. I haven't decided on that yet, and then join everything together. So I'm going to show one of them and talk you through what I'm doing. So here's the start of the last one. I am doing a granny square blanket for the first time ever, and I'm doing it with sock yarn held double, and I always use the inside and the outside of my skein for those, or for this project, My squares look like this. I did 8 rounds because that meant that I used up almost half a skein, and I wanted to get 2 squares out of each skein. I had 14 skeins, and I made 28 of those squares just using the skeins as they are, and then I did 2 leftover squares as well to get to 30, because a blanket 5x6 squares is a good size. And had I had 28, that's a weird number, 4x7, that's a weird shape. So I'm going with 5x6 and 30 squares in total. They are this big. Don't know what that is. 5 inches, 6, 7. I have no idea. I don't even care. I used 2. I got 2 squares out of 1 skein and had a tiny leftover, and that's what was the important bit. So last one, I'm going to finish that after I finish recording, but I wanted to get this recording done. I have a lot of things on my list for today, so I wanted to get this done, and then I can sit down and do the leisurely stuff. So that blanket is coming along quite nice. It took me 2 weeks to crochet all of those squares, and something's bugging me with my glasses right now. Sorry. Yeah, I'm super happy. I did 2 squares a day, and the leftover squares I just did in between. Then the next thing is my second prototype for my scrub bucket pattern. It will be released next weekend on the 20th, and this is it. That's the smaller size. This is a smaller version, and it's completely finished except for the second drawstring. So I have made 1 drawstring, and I need to make the second one and pull them through. But yeah, this one is for my son. He chose the yarn himself. I think he chose great. This looks really nice. And yeah, like I said, pattern will be released next Saturday, and I'm super happy with it. I will film a short pattern introduction video as I have done for all my other patterns. So I'm going to talk through all of the important details in that video. So yeah, almost finished. And the last thing I have to show is my glove. So I transferred my project into this beautiful project bowl. And as you can see, the second glove is started, which means the first one's finished. So my hand, I have large hands. I have a glove size 8. And my husband has a glove size 9. And the thing is, it's a bit too big for me and a bit too small for him. So my glove is a size 8.5. And this is it. It's, like I said, a tiny bit too long in the fingers, but not a lot. So if you have either a longer hand or thicker fingers, this will fit perfectly. But yeah, here it is, the glove. And you can see still the gap that I talked about last time. And yeah, lots of ends to weave in, of course, because it's a glove. And I feel like one of those puppeteers. Okay, sorry. Easily amused. And so this is the glove. I used a Corriedale sock yarn for this. I think it is a 75-25 Corriedale nylon non-superwash, but I'm not sure because I lost the tag for this. I cannot even tell you who the dyer is, which is a shame because I really like it. I really like this yarn. It is super nice. So yeah, first glove finished. And the second glove is started. Yeah, they're gloves. They're super fun to knit, and I haven't done that in a very long time, and I'm really happy that I decided to get back to it. So let's put everything together again. My beautiful bowl. And that is it for what I'm currently working on. Well, so for knitting in the future, I have actually one thing that I can show you that is a very sad start to something. It looks like this. This is going to be a flex light for my husband. And I started this, I think in 2019, around Christmas time. Yeah. As you can see, I did a lot of work on it before I put it aside. So this is how I pulled it out, you know? So yeah, it will be a flex light one day when it's growing up. The yarn I'm using is my absolute favorite yarn ever. It is Shownotes Alp Lino. I wish they would sponsor my podcast because I love this yarn so much. I could knit everything out of this yarn. And the colorway is Marine. So it's this super nice dark blue. Shownotes Alp Lino is a fingering weight yarn. And it is a wool and linen blend. It is 85% virgin wool and 15% linen. And the yarn is, you know, the sheep are herded in the Schwäbische Alb, which is a region in Baden-Württemberg in Germany. So the wool is from where they have their factory. And the linen, I think, is organic linen from France. So it's my favorite yarn. This yarn is so nice to work with. And my husband is a very tall man who used to be a competitive swimmer. So I'm knitting the size 3XL, if you're wondering. That is the large one. It is, the size that I chose is the 55-inch bust. And I measured my husband again yesterday. He has a 130 centimeter bust. So yeah, I'm doing the second largest size. So the Flex Light is a free pattern. It's by Tin Can Knits. And I've used this pattern to knit several sweaters, as you can see. Right now I need the blue line for my husband. The pink is me. And these were different sizes for Tim because I've made several for Tim of this as well. So yeah, I'm knitting the largest size. It says I need 2,300 yards. One of those skeins has 400 meters, I think. Let's check. It is 400 meters. So according to the pattern, I would need 6, right? 2,400. I bought 7 just to be on the safe side. And to be honest, if I have leftovers of this yarn, I'm always happy about that because I would love to knit everything that I will ever knit out of this yarn. So yeah, I've decided to pick that back up, mainly because my son chided me. Is that the right word? He told me off for only having things for myself and for him and my shop on the needles, but not for my husband. And I needed to make something for everybody. So I decided to pick this back up. And I have all the needles and the cables and everything stuck in here. I am going to do a folded neckline. And for that, I'm just going to knit the ribbing double the length that they are calling for in the pattern. I'm going to fold it to the inside and I'm going to knit those my life stitches and the cast on edge together for a folded neckline, and then I will continue as the pattern is written because I just like the look and the feel of that as a finish. So that is my one thing that I have for knitting in the future. I still really want to knit the yellow cardigan, but so the one pet peeve I have with Marie Wallin patterns is that all of her charts are black and white with symbols. So I am going to have to sit down on my laptop and use my Stitchy program and make a color chart for the colors that I'm using because that's just easier for me to work with. So, and I haven't had time or brain power or the patience to do that. So it's gonna have to wait for a bit. Okay, new stuff, nothing, which is good. Spinning, also nothing, not so good, but I just didn't feel like it. So for reading, listening, watching, I haven't watched anything. I have been reading. I'm still reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I have like 50 pages left. I read a novella by Katie Robert, I think is her name. And it's called Theirs for the Night. It was like a 70-page erotica, which I realized not my thing. I don't mind if there are some spicy scenes in other books, but just that, no. I need a bit more substance. So I didn't really enjoy that. I thought there's a series out of hers with Greek mythology retellings in a, sexy way. And I thought that book is called Neon Gods, the first one. And there's a second one that just came out like this year. And everyone's been like, ooh, this is so good. And I wanted to try the author, but not read a 300-page book. So I tried that novella and realized that that was not for me. So I'm not sure if her actual books would be for me or not. If you've read that, maybe you can tell me. So yeah, I read that, and I'm currently reading Wolf Gone Wild, which is a paranormal romance book by Julia Cross. It is the first one in a series, and I do not know what the series is called, but it is a series centering about 6 sisters. They're all witches and they live in New Orleans, and the first book is about the second oldest, Evie, and Matteo, who is a werewolf, and he comes to them for help to break a hex that has been put on him. And it's a really sweet book. It's funny. I just really enjoy that one. So my guess is there's 4 books out now, and there's 6 sisters. So I'm guessing that there will be 6 books in total, which would make sense. So yeah, I'm reading that one. I'm reading that through Kindle Unlimited, and I really enjoy it. For listening, I've been listening to 2 books since last we spoke, or since my last podcast. And they are both part of the Yorkshire Murder Mystery series by J.R. Ellis. And I listened to books 3 and 4 of the series. So the 3rd book was called Murder at Redmire Hall, and it was a locked room murder mystery, which was my first one ever. I had never read a locked room murder mystery and I really enjoyed it. And the fourth one, I have like 10 minutes left. I'm gonna listen to that once I'm finished recording. And that is called Murder at the Royal Baths, or the Royal Baths Murder. One or the other. And it is a murder that's taken place at a crime writer convention festival thing. So yeah, I really like those books. They're like classic crime novels, and I listen to them also through Kindle Unlimited, because there now is a Kindle Unlimited audio option, which I love. And so yeah, I've been doing that. And I think that's also it for reading, listening, watching. So I have one more crafty thing to show to you. I made more book sleeves, and this time I made book sleeves for the three of us, for my family. Gonna come a bit closer. I'm gonna show you the one for my husband first. So yesterday afternoon, I decided that I wanted to have a book sleeve for me and one for the boys as well. And I got everyone into my sewing room, which is my office sewing room space. And everybody got to choose their own fabrics. So my son actually chose this fabric for parts of his, and you will see what I mean by that. And I knew immediately that my husband would want this as well. It is a very, very pretty batik fabric. And I got this in like many years ago, I ordered a leftover pack of batik fabrics from a quilting shop. And this was a relatively large piece. There's small strips and then larger bits and, you know, weirdly shaped offcuts, but for patchwork, that's perfect. But this one made this book sleeve for my husband. I put my label at the bottom here, and he chose the white with the navy blue stars for the lining. So that is my husband's book sleeve. Then my book sleeve, and I love this, is this fabric here. And I really wanted this flower fairy to be in the middle of the front, which meant that I had to do some very creative cutting, because her fabric ended like here. That was the end of the fabric. It was also one of those offcuts, not in a batik, but you know. And so I had to add on some other fabric, and because this fabric was so wonky, but I wanted her to be relatively centered, my stitching now is very wonky, and you can see it better, I think, on the other side. This is very, but I don't mind. This fabric was Alexander Henry, and I think it's called Skins. And I really wanted that flower fairy, and there was only one of them on the bit of fabric that I had. So I centered her on the front, decided to put the label in the back, and just cut a piece of the fabric for the back, and that's it. So this is mine. The lining is orange and white polka dots, and in here are the next two books that I want to read, so you can actually see how big this is. It holds two books easily, and I could slit a third small one in as well. And because we're talking about books anyways, the next two books I have selected are Book Lovers by Emily Henry and My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. So these books will now go back into my book sleeve. They are from my summer reading basket that I put together. And yeah, like I said, they easily fit in here with room to spare. So the book sleeve is mainly for, you know, protecting it while you take your books with you to the lake, on vacation, in your handbag, whatever. So I'm super happy with it. I chose the medium size. I made 3 different sizes for my shop, and this is the medium size that I made for the 3 of us. So you can probably imagine a bit better how big they are. And now, I hope you're ready. I had very, very clear instructions how this had to look in the end. So I put books in already. He chose a red and white polka dot for the lining. And now, let's start with this side. Here's the batik. And purple, because it's one of his favorite colors, I had to put on his initial with shiny green ribbon, which was a bitch to sew on. And also he had these two iron-on patches, because every time I go to a fabric shop, he either finds buttons, which you will learn in a second, or an iron-on patch that he really wants. And I had to put those two on his book sleeve. So that's the front or the back, I'm not sure, one side. And the other side has a bit of that Alexander Henry skins fabric, because it's a cat. I mean, a cat. It's a tiger, but it's the only cat fabric I have. So he needed it on his book sleeve. So I actually applicated on more of the purple, because this fabric here wasn't wide enough. And then my label and two of the buttons that he bought on previous excursions to the fabric shop. So that is one side of his book sleeve, and that is the other. And I really love how it turned out. I think that it was so sweet how he was like, and then I want this, and then I want this, and can you do that, and can you sew on those buttons, and can I have a cat, and can I have this, and I want a fire truck, and I want the whatever. So yeah, that's my son's book sleeve. With, like I said, very clear instructions on how it has to look in the end. So I made those 3 yesterday. They're ours now. And that is it for my making. The only thing I have left to tell you is that tonight, if you were watching this super quickly, tonight is a VKN. It is the 13th of August today, if you're wondering. We're doing a VKN tonight at 9 p.m. Berlin time, which is my time zone. And I am going to post links to Discord and to Ravelry. If you want to join the VKN and you have neither of those two things, you can message me on Instagram and we can figure something out. And yeah, the reason why I cannot podcast tomorrow is because tomorrow is my wedding anniversary. Not just wedding, but also we got together on that date. And we just decided to get married on our 5th anniversary. So we only had to remember one date, because, you know, why would you do it different? So tomorrow is our 14th wedding anniversary and our 19 years being together anniversary. And I didn't want to podcast then. So that's the reason. And yeah, I am going to let you go. It's a shorter episode from me this week, which is okay, because I want to get into a weekly schedule, which means shorter episodes for everybody. And I like that idea. So I hope you're all having a wonderful time, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.